Check that out. You'll be glad you did. The paint scheme on that airplane truly representative of all of our friends and family who have served in the country. There's Andrew McKenna for Pamela Marie. Coming in behind Pamela Marie, the P-51 is a good friend there, and the Dan, I think, is flying that one. Made famous by our friends the Flying Tigers back in the earliest of early days of World War II. That's Tobul Corsair back there, the big wonder of the world. Military airplanes that are here for your viewing pleasure. Now, this is not to glorify war. I want you to hear my words carefully. This is not to glorify war. This is simply to remember the brave warriors that have gone before us, on whose shoulders we stand upon today in this great nation. Everything you see here will take your sights and your senses back to the days of World War II, where this nation stood up and joined forces with our allies. And now, ladies and gentlemen, as we warm up, we can see the enemy that begins to shoot off a few flares out there and let us know where they're at. We're going to ask you to take yourself back to the earliest of early, the 1940s, around 1941. December 7th, Pearl Harbor was attacked. On board the B-25 right now is Mr. Larry Kelly, the lead B-25, Panchito. Flying with him today is retired Brigadier General George Bartlett. Ladies and gentlemen, a World War II veteran on board this first B-25. Let's send him off in style as he comes through. The Trojan Horsemen also making their way down. But immediately following the attacks at Pearl Harbor, 80 brave men under the command of General Jimmy Doolittle said, "Put me in, coach. Put me in." B-25s with 80 brave men launched from the deck of the Hornet on April the 16th, a few months after the attack at Pearl Harbor. Now, back then, it was not thought possible to fly a B-25 to the aircraft carrier, but those 80 brave men, the Doolittle Tokyo Raiders, flew the flag. These two aircraft are representative of the B-25s that launched off the Hornet that morning. Today, there are only two surviving Doolittle Tokyo Raiders. Lieutenant Colonel Cole, who retired a number of years ago from the movie 30 Seconds Over Tokyo. If you haven't seen the film, he is the hero in the movie. He's also the youngest, at I believe 94 or 95 now. Now approaching from the right, demonstrating the Doolittle pop-up raid maneuver. Watch as the B-25 comes in low. Imagine him coming in over the coast of Japan and able to avoid enemy radar down low. The way they did the surprise attack was just like you're about to see with Larry Kelly and, I should say, retired Brigadier General George Bartlett do. They pull up about 50 feet and drop their bombs. And now, on the right, our next B-25, demonstrating the Doolittle pop-up raid maneuver. Not trying to glorify war, but I would ask you to remember our Doolittle Raiders and all of our B-25 air crews, just like General Bartlett, who's flying in Panchito today. Stand up and cheer if you knew a World War II veteran for this next one, because here it is, the world's oldest flying B-25, simulating the Doolittle pop-up raid. That's Mishap, and it's bombs away. The fear that was struck in the heart of the Japanese on April the 16th, although not a tactical success, was a boost for the American people. If you survived 9/11, then you remember the pain that you felt in your heart the following morning. How could our country be attacked this way? Well, that's the same thing these men and women felt in 1941. The airplane that you see right here, that was shock and awe for 1940s. The B-25, better known as the A-10 of its generation, packed a punch. It had a side load of package guns, as a top turret bristled with bullets as well, a tail turret, and a number of other weapons on that aircraft. It was available for most of the war until the B-24 and the B-29 came online. But just think about how far we've come. The tiny F-16 out in front could carry more than this airplane could in World War II. The crews who flew these airplanes, now I want you to think about this, the crews who flew these airplanes in World War II, just like General Bartlett, they had less than the chance at survival as they did of winning a coin toss. Now, you can do the math on that. They said, put me in, coach. Put me in. They knew that war, sacrificed, and what they did for our great nation. 68 years ago, the Air Force formed. Now, you do the math on this. We just celebrated the anniversary of the end of World War II, the 70th. These airplanes were flying before the Air Force even existed. And back then, there was an elite group of people that we called the greatest generation, many of our grandparents, who answered our nation's call. They fought back the evils that existed in the world back then. And today, all of our brave men and women who serve in this great nation, they stand upon their shoulders right here at Joint Base Andrews. They represent some of the bravest men from World War II, our Doolittle Tokyo Raiders, who truly answered the call after the December 7th attack. We thank them, we salute them, and we want you to leave here today with a picture of these two aircraft because we're going to do something really special. Major Crum, I know the social media sites here are buzzing right now for the Joint Base Andrews Air Show. A little air show by request came in this morning on the Facebook page for the show. We're going to do a photo pass courtesy of, who was it that asked? It was a young boy by the name of Benjamin that asked on the Facebook page for a photo pass. We're going to do it right now. That you saw a true hero, an American hero on board that aircraft right here at Joint Base Andrews, celebrating 68 years of Air Force history. Check it out as our B-25 Panchito rocks up on the wing and gives you a great image to take home with you today. The man who knew about air power, the founding father, if you will, of our United States Air Force today. This was his airplane in World War II. Take a picture of this B-25 as it comes by, celebrating 68 years of Air Force heritage. General Hap Arnold's personal airplane celebrated here with us today. Joint Base Andrews, it doesn't get much better than this. And now, the sound of the magic bird, the P-51 Mustang. The mighty Mustang, the P-51, known as the Cadillac of the sky. The P-51, the foremost fighter of the war, it replaced the P-40 that you see taking off, which served early in the conflict. The AVG fighters had also served abroad in a number of the Allied nations. The P-40 made famous by men who lived right here in D.C. like John Allison. Men who answered the call before our nation was ready to go to war. The Fighting Tigers, the Flying Tigers, as they were known, who flew the P-40s. The Corsair, also an aircraft, served in the Pacific, made famous by men like Pappy Boyington and his Black Sheep Squadron. Let's watch now as Scott Scooter Yoak and the P-51 Mustang Quicksilver enter the strafing ride. Close behind him, Andrew McKenna down and dirty on the right. Slight adjustment. Now he sees him, and a direct hit for Andrew McKenna. Close behind the P-40 Warhawk. Red nose and shark teeth, scaring the enemy away just with the paint scheme alone. And now, Jim Tobul, F4U Corsair. They called this aircraft the Whistling Death because of the sound that it made when it came by. Jim Tobul, though, he's on to power. He says he has plenty. And look at that climb out on the F4U Corsair. The P-51 Mustang remained with some Air Forces until the early 1980s. The Mustang that Scooter flies was handcrafted from a variety of different parts and pieces that he used. A nice 4-point hesitation roll by McKenna. A resident of Arlington, Virginia, you see this aircraft flying along the DC area quite often. Andrew McKenna volunteers his airplane for funeral services at Arlington Cemetery out of the graces of his own military family members. So if you see that silver P-51, you know what it is. The P-40 from Long Island is part of the American Air Power Museum. A beautiful aircraft, the Jackie C. The F4U Corsair. This aircraft, an actual vet of the Korean War, flown by a number of famous pilots. Tobul Corsair, beautiful aircraft, an outstanding performance by Jim Tobul. P-51 aerobatic demonstration. Let's watch him now as he comes down low. A nice, huge pull. Let's see what Scott has up his sleeve. A nice little aileron roll for you. Back around. He and McKenna are really having a great time. Both of these men under the age of 40. Andrew McKenna, a gorgeous barrel roll right here at Show Center. Look at them. Just gorgeous on that P-51 as it comes around. The high shine of the polished aluminum, the sound of the Berlin. Cookie, we used to ride around with one of the Flying Tigers back in the early days of the airshow business. You may remember Tex Hill. Used to ride around in my dad's old pickup truck at the air shows and tell me stories of the Flying Tiger.
Absolutely. I had an opportunity to meet Tex Hill at Randolph Air Force Base in Texas, where he was living at the time. An awesome, awesome gentleman. As you see Jim Tobul do a nice aileron roll and level up right at the top. Makes the right-hand turn.
What a guy, too. Look at Scooter down here, down on the deck, rolled by Quicksilver. Scooter does one of the only 5-point rolls symbolizing the Pentagon and all of the different service organizations that we have here, our armed services in the United States. Hesitation roll for us. Tucking it in tight, showing you the capability of this airplane. Andrew's going to duck back out and head to Manassas here in a few minutes where he keeps this aircraft. Again, if you see an airplane doing a flyover at Arlington National Cemetery, it's probably Andrew McKenna. Did a nice flyover there at the Air Force Memorial, a great flyover. The P-40, again, a legendary aircraft. The backbone of World War II. Now the Corsair coming around. Airshow buyer request here as we see our next Mustang into the pattern here. Another aerobatic pass here. We have, I believe, a moment here for Airshow by request. We're going to get this one in here for, we're supposed to be at the Reno Air Races, but not here this week. We wanted to come here and celebrate 68 years of Air Force history at Joint Base Andrews. He's here to take some pictures of this photo pass here for Scooter Yoak coming by. Andrew McKenna coming around here. Now you may like the rolls and the loops here that we've seen, but I'm telling you, Jim, the photo pass is always the crowd favorite. They do some of the best photo passes in the business. Scooter's going to wrap this thing around tight over here on the right. What is he doing in that Corsair? Look at this. Oh, he's just showing off a slow 4-point roll in the Corsair. That is a gorgeous airplane, you know what I mean? Beautiful airplane.
Beautiful award-winning airplane.
Award-winning aircraft, yeah. Sun and Fun and Oshkosh. With the Pebble Beach of the car world, well, Oshkosh is aviation's Pebble Beach. All right, Scooter Yoak calling into Wayne Boggs, our celebrity air boss in the tower up there. See, on film for you here in just a second. He's coming around. Now watch him. Because Scooter's kind of a sneaky dude. He likes to sneak up on everybody. He's going to wrap this airplane around. He's going to crank it up. The Mustang, of course, capable of 437 miles per hour. A very fast cranks in some power for you. He's building up some smash up there on the right. Here's Tobul again. This one's for Jaylee, I believe. She wanted to see a slow roll from the Corsair. We worked that one in. Again, join up with the Joint Base Andrews Facebook page. We'll try and do our part for Airshow by request. We're seeing if he's up there. Yeah, boss, announcer wants to know if the pattern is full, or are we good, sir?
The pattern is not full.
Don't spill your coffee, Boggs. Look at that. Scooter Yoak giving the guys in the control tower a great look. And how about it, folks? Scooter Yoak and Quicksilver. Here he comes, Andrew McKenna, P-51 Mustang. Check it out, folks. The P-40 Warhawk. P-40 Warhawk, a gorgeous aircraft. Again, the backbone of the Americans and Allied Air Force. A number of those P-40s went on to serve with Allied countries during the war and saw great service along the Lend-Lease program and went abroad to our allies. The F4U Corsair, the Korean War hero, flown today by Jim Tobul. We're going to change gears here just a moment, give you a look at some of these historic warbirds, namely the Corsair and the Mustang. Scott Yoak and Jim Tobul, two men that have grown up in the airshow industry. Jim Tobul, as they orbit back around now in close formation behind you, these two gentlemen will fly the aircraft right back into Airshow Center here just moments from now. We celebrated 70 years of the end of World War II earlier. He went on to serve in Korea. And now today he continues to serve this nation by telling the stories of our brave warriors who not only fought in World War II, but went on to fly and fight in the Korean War today to honor all of our veterans who have served past, present, and future. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the right, please welcome the class of 45. The class of 45 origins are really quite simple. While watching the practice at the Wings Over North Georgia Air Show in October of 2013, pilot Jim Tobul and Scott Scooter Yoak were discussing the U.S. Air Force's heritage. Built in 1945. For this landmark year, they would like to present to you the class of 45. As we said about Scooter's Mustang, this one was built from parts and pieces. When Scooter was a young man, he would tell you, and by young, I mean a little younger than he is today. Just turned 30 years old. We lost his dad, Bill, just a few years ago. But he and his father hand-built this P-51, literally from parts and pieces. Scooter would recall playing basketball and soccer against Quicksilver's wings before they were assembled. A historic paint scheme is representative, and I think the most beautiful P-51 on Earth for what it represents. The Korean War hero in its own right. A veteran of the Korean War, and lovingly restored by the Tobul family to exacting standards. He's gone on to represent both the Korean War and the World War II veterans who flew the Corsair. This particular airplane, as we said, served on board many carriers. It's flown by a variety of pilots, many of whom are of note, down in Bamberg, South Carolina. And again now from the left, please welcome Jim Tobul and Scooter Yoak of the class of 45. keep your camera right on them both. Don't worry about shooting each individually. Keep them on both, and you too will get the break, because it happens right at show center. Let's watch now. Ready? And here's the break. The class of 45 would like to dedicate each and every one of these passes to the men and women who proudly have served and are serving in the United States Armed Forces. The mission is simple: to preserve and honor the service of the American military men and women, both then and now. In flying these legendary machines, we remember their service, their contributions, and our obligation to never let their sacrifices be in vain. As the thunder of their engines fades into the distance, remember that freedom is not free, and that liberty is everyone's responsibility. With a poignant reminder, we all must be in the middle. This flight today is dedicated to the memory of Joe Tobul, Jim's father, and Bill Yoak, Scott's father, and all of the men and women who serve in the United States military. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for all of our veterans here today, and for the class of 45. Thank you for your attendance today, and God bless America. I'd like to bring up here in a few moments Ms. Lisa Heidegger. Lisa, do we have just a few moments here, I think, before the Trojan Horseman?
Matt, yes, I do think we have just a quick moment.
I want to bring up here and get this guy up here. Well, thank you very much.
My pleasure, Matt.
And listen, you're here with the Disabled American Veterans. They're right over here. If folks would like to come and meet you, look for Panchito. It's going to be right back here to the right of the announcer stand.
We'll be there.
And you'll be there to tell them how to help out, won't you?
That's right.
Well, General, you're an American hero, and we're honored to have you. Thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you very, very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, General Bartlett, who is up here with us, go by and meet him for yourself. Go meet him and see him in person. Bringing this up here and making General Bartlett possible for us to interview. So incredible, Jay Rabbit, the people we get to meet up here. I'm telling you what, it's just going to get better and better and better. Jay Rabbit, let's change gears here just momentarily and thank our friends there who have made this air show possible, our friends at Andrews Federal Credit Union. Lisa Heidegger, I'm told the airspace has been turned over to the Trojan Horsemen.